Welcome to Cold Wans. Oh man, if you're not familiar with what Cold Wans is a 5-minute cold plunge where I'll have a chat with my guest about a topic or a word. Then after that is the post-plunge warm-up where we have a good conversation, I get to know my guest, and we've learned things that we didn't already know about them. On that note, let's get Dylan in here. So we've got Dylan Stewart as our guest today. Alright. So, are you ready for this?
Wee bit.
He's as ready as he'll ever be. So let's get on with it. You ready? Let's go. Oh man. As soon as you're ready, we can get popping. Oh man. One of the better reactions so far. Quite calm. I like it. So today's topic's gonna be about mindfulness. When you think about mindfulness, what do you think of?
Being kind to other people.
So I feel like mindfulness is it's got a broad opportunity here because you can be mindful in a lot of ways. You can be mindful in the way of, like you say, kindness. But you can also be mindful in the way that when there's someone making mistakes, you're willing to tell them. Mindfulness is about sort of recognizing what's around you and always having your mind open to new opportunities or even old opportunities.
Yeah.
I think mindfulness is it's a good opportunity for a lot of things. And if you're a mindful individual, there's almost no negative you can really say about somebody that's mindful because they're willing to listen, they're willing to take opportunity, and they're willing to just kind of roll with the shots. You think?
Yeah.
But like in the same way, I think mindfulness can also be used in a negative connotation because some people are almost too mindful and they're too willing to try and change the way people are because it's not kind of how they want the person to be. You know what I mean?
I think that's what's wrong with the world nowadays. Obviously, people like judge for anything, and they've not got that much kindness about them. So it's just
It's such a closed door that should definitely be open to opportunity. You know what I mean? Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you there. To be fair, it's like it is so hard nowadays to find like what I would say is a real person, like a fully real, mindful, open book sort of person. You know what I mean? Like it's
very hard nowadays.
That's kind of why I like doing cold ones as well. It's like a lot of the people that are willing to do stuff like this and they're willing to kind of. I mean, I know it's scary.
It's a new experience for other people as well. It's not just.
But you meet a lot more like folk that are kind of in the same place as you are at this time in life. You know what I mean? A lot more mindful, a lot more willing to have a change, willing to get out of their comfort zone, willing to try and help the world kind of move on from the situation we're in right now, which is not great.
Shambles.
Exactly, like it is. It's absolutely all over the place, man. But like I've said in every other episode of this has ever came up, it's like you can't change everything. We're never gonna have a perfect world, like, but all you can do is try. And
just try something new every day. That's a task that I do every day. Just try something new before you suddenly deep end. You know,
keep leaping.
Make yourself better. Well, at least try.
Exactly. If you're doing something every day, at least you're trying, and you're not wrong. That's what you need to be aiming for. So, I mean, in all the grand scheme of things, I think mindfulness is maybe bypassed by quite a lot of people nowadays, but it's an important part or important aspect to life that you should really partake in. You know what I mean? On that note, do you think, like talking about the fact that quite a lot of folk miss it, do you think nowadays there is a lack of kind of mindful people? You know what I mean? Like
it's quite a lot because it's like at least to like suicide and that as well. It's not just not many that people have it. It's just like we need more people that are just not like judgmental. You know what I mean? So the world just needs to be a better place because right now I just feel like it's like fucked. You know what I mean? So
I mean, in the same way, mindfulness also does kind of come down to that think before you speak sort of scenario as well. And as you say, like a lot of people, they don't really think about what they're doing before they do them. They just kind of, that's okay in some scenarios, like if you're wanting to business, fucking opportunity in that, like obviously take a leap, go for it. But see, when you're thinking about someone else's emotions, someone else's feelings, you need to really think about what you're saying because people can be going through a lot and you may be going through a lot too, but equally, people around you
going through a similar problem.
Exactly. So, and you need to be mindful of that.
You need to be kind to everyone.
Exactly.
Sometimes kindness can obviously be too kind, that can be a bit of a problem. But
it backfires on you a bit.
I'm just like, fuck it, you know what I mean? That's what it is, isn't it?
live a positive life,
Yeah.
and the people around you also live positively. But I mean, on that note, you seem like you're getting awfully cold, so
A wee bit.
we're gonna head over to the post plunge warm up, and we'll get a proper chat with Dylan in a warmer scenario than this.
Yeah.
So, guys, that's us into the post plunge warm up, where we get to know our guest. So, how was that ice plunge for you?
Out of the ordinary, but it was alright.
That's better than a lot of answers. Usually, it was fucking freezing, but
It was cold, yeah, don't get me wrong, but it's a challenge, so I liked it.
to be fair, you done really well. You were quite calm, breathing well. One of the better reactions so far to the water, so I respect that.
Just like seawater, isn't it? Actually, you just need to put it in your heat.
Absolutely. So in the post-plunge warm-up, what we basically do is we let our guests kind of talk through their life, give us a bit of an insight, maybe tell us a couple of things that we could all kind of relate to or learn from. And that's really all the post-plunge is about, just letting our guest show their colours. So, Dylan, fire off, go in whatever direction you want to go, and I'll talk to you whenever I feel like it's necessary.
So, in my spare time, I like to make music, go to gym. Obviously, I've got 2 kids. I've got a 2-year-old daughter and a 7-month-old son. So, that's a bit hard going, but teamwork with me and my partner, so that's what makes it work. Other than that, just getting by day, really.
Yeah, the classic day by day trait. It's a very prominent thing, I think, in a lot of people's lives nowadays.
Survival of the fittest, pretty much, isn't it?
Absolutely. You've got to keep fighting to keep adapting, to keep it going. But I mean, if you've not got much else that you want to kind of just fly out there with, I've got a couple questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. So we've obviously got. He's actually mentioned basically every question, but I'm gonna get a bit more in depth with him. So on SoundCloud, obviously you create music. You kind of have like a wee following of people that obviously follow you doing your music creation.
It's a hobby in that as well.
Yeah. So for SoundCloud and making your money music and creation stuff, what really pushed you or drove you to be or do what you're doing just now?
Well, I think at the start it was just a hobby, but I had one of my family members, which is a granddad, who was obviously a DJ, and before he died, he gave me like a launch pad and just a little bit more information on how to DJ. So I think after that happened, it's like it's not just a hobby anymore. I want to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why I want to do that. So
I think the good thing about things like that is it's what you would call a side hustle.
yeah.
So like having something like that, obviously you learn it, you get good at it, you could go and have an opportunity to make money with it. And I think that's what a lot of people need to have. Like this cold wans, this ice plunging.
This is a prime example.
This is a side hustle for me. This isn't like my main thing. This isn't how I make my money. It's not. But it's somewhere that I like
a hobby
to go.
and a side hustle, really, isn't
it? It's maybe we'll make money at one point. Doesn't really matter to me. I'm just happy doing what I'm doing at the end of the day.
Probably won't make money if you keep doing it, I think.
And it's like it's just an opportunity though. It's like the thing is, I think for this especially, you've found like something that a lot of people don't do. So it's a cold plunge and then talking to a guest. And the sweetest thing about Cold Wans is the fact that it's not just like you're going from your first couple of people to then trying to get like more popular people. You're just bringing in everyday people all the time.
They not lead up to or.
But I'm not even. But that's the thing. I'm still gonna keep it with everyday people still. Like I want. This is what Cold Wans is about. It's about letting what people would say is the common folks talk.
Everyone's welcome, pretty much.
Exactly. And that's what's important about it. And that's kind of the key area I was going for with Cold Wans, because it's something that a lot of people don't even think about doing, like interviewing sort of scenario or just talking to the world. You know what I mean? It's a great opportunity for a lot of people. But within that side hustle, have you been making money from your music so far? Is it literally just getting you kind of?
I wouldn't say I'm not making money just yet, because there's just a few investments I still need to make for me to get monetized.
Yeah.
Same with obviously like TikTok and like YouTube as well. Like I'm gonna start doing that more often and try and get monetized on those videos as well.
Yeah.
So like all that like digital creator content type stuff and music production is like something I'm like eager to learn more of. So
Yeah. It's, I mean, all of what that is learning and having knowledge to then be able to kind of dictate where you're going within this, especially social media. If you know how the algorithm and stuff works, like we were talking about earlier, you can make money off it and you can really kind of get in depth with it and all. But you need to learn, you need to have the knowledge to then get where you want to be within that area.
I'm not going to say too much, but you just need to pick a niche and everything just skyrockets from there.
Absolutely, you need to pick your fucking audience, and once you've got your audience, then it's not easy pickings as such, but you're in the right direction. You're moving in the right
as well. Is one of them.
Absolutely, like that's what I was saying to. I was saying that to a couple of my pals that were like kind of doing the same sort of thing, and I was like, even if it looks like it's not going anywhere, eventually your efforts will be paid for. So you just need to keep fighting.
That's the same with life as well. Not just like making music or like TikToks or anything like that. It's just like an overall.
That's a good lesson to life. To be fair, if you don't stay consistent, you don't keep fighting through, eventually you're not gonna get anywhere. You need to just keep going, even when it gets tough, even when it seems like it's not changing. You just need to keep fighting through, and that's what a lot of people give up on once it gets hard. That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I was actually saying to my mum a couple of days ago. I posted a TikTok and there was folks sitting in the comments like being just negative arseholes, and I was like, this is where people fail because
I use negativity as more of like they've told me what I've done wrong. Let's use that as a like a boost.
Yeah.
Thanks for telling me what I've done wrong.
I suppose See if it's like if it's in like a kind of structural way, yes, absolutely fantastic. But they were like on mines, it was like they said yap yap yap, and it was just like stupid things. And you're just like, but you just use it as a driving power to become better. You know what I mean? And it's also any publicity is good publicity. So them commenting on my stuff just makes my post look better. So it's fine by me. But
more views and more clicks.
Exactly. It's like it's great because even negativity in some ways is positive for like social media and stuff. So within that as well. So how difficult is it kind of from what you know already within SoundCloud, how difficult is it to kind of put something together to then get it to a point where how much time, how much effort does it take to get a song to where you want it to be to then be able to maybe throw it out there for the public?
It's endless. It's like so much hard. You need to obviously get the backing song, you need to get the chorus, and you need to make sure there's no any like cuts and awkward. Yeah. I'm still learning, so like, some of my music is obviously a little bit rubbish, but we only go up from there. So.
Exactly. No, you have to have a couple of failed attempts to get to where you want to be. You know what I mean?
Right, Ben Hemsley and all that, and they weren't.
Exactly, they weren't
started
perfect.
Off from the bottom. So.
Exactly, and that's where you need to be. You just need to keep fighting through, like we said, consistency. So within that, anyway, we'll move away from your SoundCloud stuff because I feel like I'm drying you out of the questions, and you're starting to struggle a bit here. So the next thing I was going to ask you is obviously you said that you're a father of 2 kids, and as of this being the first person to be on is probably what's your age again? Sorry, you're 20.
22.
22. Yeah. Oh God, you're old. I didn't know you were older than me. That's crazy, man. So obviously being at the age of 22, you're a young adult, you know what I mean? So it's still quite a young age, and plus you said there were 2, which means you would have had your kids at 20, or one of your kids at 20. Yes. So being a young adolescent parent nowadays it's quite a common thing because I've spoke to a couple of folk and they've said that sometimes that kids maybe brought them out of a dark place. The kids kind of, I don't know, saved them in some sort. Like, but for you, what kind of happened? How did this come about? Like, and how do you feel as being a father at this?
I feel great now, but at first I was scared. I was like didn't know what to do in my life. I was like, oh my God. And at that point, I was obviously still hanging about with like the wrong crowd and everything. So everything on top of that, I wasn't really ready for it. But as soon as it started, I got on alright. So kids is amazing.
Yeah,
amazing. I wouldn't change it for the world.
To be fair, I've always said that I want kids, but I think for me especially, I'm gonna always wait until I'm now ready because I'm at a place now where I know I'm gonna be able to get
having them young is so much better though.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
You've got your whole life ahead of you once they're at school. Like my 2-year-old's already at nursery. Then once they both go to school, it's like I can do what I want to do in life now.
Yeah, fair.
Same with my partner as well. So it's
Absolutely. Development as a family, and
I
that's the most sweet of things. So like, was your kids planned, or was it just like come by, day by, happen by, or what was
It was lockdown pretty much. It was lockdown.
Oh, it was lockdown 2 years ago. That's crazy, man.
I don't know. One of them was lockdown, baby. Then both. I feel like they were planned, but my partner makes it different. So.
That's fair. If you don't want to delve deep into it, then you don't have to, man. That's absolutely fair. I just thought I'd ask because sometimes, in a lot of cases, it's not usually planned, and then it ends up being a happy accident. So exactly, yeah, happy accidents always happen. But yeah, I mean, within that, when you go to the gym and stuff as well, like, how do you feel that the kind of gym society within life is now? Like, because I've asked this to a lot of people, and a lot of people have different, like, mixed up opinions on it.
I would say it's alright. Like me, like I struggle to put on the weight, so it's a bit of a problem for me. But I feel like you just need a few people who are all positive in the gym community.
Absolutely.
Like yourself, like you're massive. I wouldn't say massive, but you're bigger than me. So, but I would say gym's like any other like hobby. You know what I mean? So.
It's a hobby that becomes a
lifestyle.
Yeah, lifestyle. Absolutely. That's what I was looking for. I'm happy you took that word out of my mouth, man. It's a good it's a good thing to think about, to be fair, because it
keeps a good mental state as well, though.
Yeah.
So you see, like if you're angry one day, like I'll just go to the gym.
Yeah.
Take my mind off it, or just go for a run or cold plunge.
Yeah.
Like what you do. So it's like a gym, in some ways, can help people, or it can, not help people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think a lot of cases people go in with a very high maybe anxiety level at the gym as well, and that sometimes brings people down a couple pegs, which is it's a shame, because from my honest opinion, I remember when I first went to the gym and I was quite an anxious kind of, it is a bit scary, but see, once you get in and you kind of get to it, you realise that every single person there is there to do their own thing, and everyone there's basic. Most people are positive. You can't say everybody is, because there'll be a couple of folk in there you'll be like, okay, yeah, he's a bit of a, I don't know, Fruit Loop, or a wee bit of dick, like, but there's always got people like that. There's people like that in your probably day-to-day job.
I just don't judge anyone, you know what I mean? Because I know how it felt to be judged, so I just don't really judge anyone. I just, like, you're doing your own life, you know what I mean? Good on you, proud of you.
There's no time for judgment, you know what I mean?
No.
I've not got time in my life now to even...
Life's too short for it now, like, you know what I mean? That's what... You need more people that are, like, caring, because, like, there's too many people, like, young people dying, so it's like... Like, you can't... Nah.
Actually, yeah, I can't. I'm
gonna stop myself there. You can nah. Too much.
I know. To be fair, you got a point. Like, there's a lot more suicides. There's a lot more death by drug use and, like, all this stuff going about, and it gets overruled by daily life, because it just gets swept under the carpet, because for a lot of people it's easier for them to forget than to actually face it head on. And I think
drug plays a big part in it as well, though. Like, see, once you get hooked on that, it's really hard to get. I'm speaking from experience as well, so it's like it's really hard to get off it. So, but once you get the help, there's nothing wrong with getting help, and see, like, after you got the help, you feel so much better.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Like, once you get out of that place, you get out of that headspace.
By all means, if you've gone to raves, like, I've never been to a rave, like, I've only been to a few, but, like, you see people that go for raves, like, by all means, if you want to take drugs, if you've not got responsibilities like kids, by all means, go. I'm not going to judge, you know what I mean? Like, I've been there, I've done that. It's not good. Yeah,
it's not a good place to be, especially when it's like the gym. It becomes a lifestyle, and that's when it's a problem.
It makes sure, like, at first it might, but let's go. You know what I mean? Then you get hooked on it, and the more and more you take it, the more and more your body's going down and down and down.
Yeah.
To the point you wake up one morning and you're not there.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So.
And with a lot of drugs as well nowadays, it's like you don't really know what's in them. Like, I mean, it's always been kind of like that, but nowadays I think it's even worse than it.
Drugs are everywhere. It's never going to go away. Drugs are everywhere.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely agree with that. Like, you you can't keep a hold of something that's so out of within government or even our hands. You know what I mean? It's like,
no,
but it's like
look at dark web. It's easy accessible on the dark web with Tor browser and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like drugs are always going to be a thing. It's just, you know, it's unfortunate for the people who.
I think it's less about stopping it and more about teaching about it. I think that's I spoke about this on my episode 2 weeks ago, and I would love the opportunity to maybe go to like even my old school and stuff and speak to like the folk at like that prime age. I think when you get into like maybe 3rd, 4th years where you're at your prime age for probably falling into like that trap.
Yeah.
Because that's probably
I
when I
was
fell
15,
into
16,
it.
so,
That's kind of when I fell into it as well. So it's like it's more about teaching them and telling them the dangers than actually telling them not to do it, because you can't force someone not to do something. But if you can at least tell them how it's going to go, what can happen, you're at least trying, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's the only way you can really conquer
I think it's
these things.
when we were younger and stuff, it was like, oh, like we'll just try it, you know, we're young.
Yeah.
But it'll bite you in the arse when you get older.
Yeah.
Like, so it's just.
Especially if you didn't get out of it as well. Like, it's all good and said doing it for like a bit of your youth, but see if you're stuck after that point and you see people like you kicking about in that year and you know that they've clearly been dragged down into the deep end very early in their life and they've just never got out of it, and it's a shame, to be honest, because there's help out there, but it's not sometimes help that they can access and stuff, you know what I mean? It's a crazy thing. I don't even know how we spiraled into this conversation.
But I was like, cold ones, isn't it? So.
It's cold ones. It's just about talking, and that's honestly the most valuable thing about this. Like I said last week as well, if any of you ever want to do it, just give me a mail.
I'm do a big McBang. Just get a few people in, just start getting food.
I actually did think about that once. I did think a mukbang would be quite funny. Just sitting here, Cold Wans episode 6 or something, just a couple of boys sitting eating scran, talking about fucking life. You know what I mean? It's like it's all stuff that needs to be heard as well. Like it's like I think the most powerful thing about stuff like this is the fact that you're just watching.
Suicide does need to stop though.
Yeah.
Like, that's the way I feel as well. Like people judging people and just people taking their own lives. It really hits a spot in me.
Yeah.
Like, I hate people like trying to commit suicide. Like just nah.
It's I've been at a place in my life, I spoke about this obviously in my episode as well, where like you do not want to be here, and honestly it's the most horrible feeling ever. Like, when you think back to it and you're just like you were so like in a place where you're just so empty that you were willing to take your life. It's like, how do you even get to that point? And then you look back.
There can be a variety of reasons why someone can be feeling like that. It can be like drugs, it can be anything like what's happened in their life. It can be so much.
Exactly, and it opens an opportunity for you to be so low in your life that you're willing to take your own life. It's a crazy, crazy thing, suicide. And honestly, being in like that kind of scenario in my life at one point, it's a weird feeling because you just feel nothing. And it's like, I don't know. My pal said that he kind of felt like he wanted just it all to stop, and that's a good a good thing to think about. Is it does get to a point where you just want it to stop.
You just want like your head just to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's what he said, and I said more of it being like I just got so fed up with who I was and who I was. Like I wasn't a good person, so I just decided that was it. But obviously, we both came out the other end fine, and we're both much better people now. We're much happier, much.
That's why I just try and keep positive, like TikTok, making music, you with your cold ones, gyms, like just be positive more in life. And that's what the message needs to go out to everyone though. Like just be positive.
I know, to be fair, like I think I spoke about that in my Ice Bath not too long ago as well. I said that the only thing that you could the only way that you should be interacting with people is by letting them leave happier than they came to you, because you should always be kind, always positive, and always giving the right words out to people, because that's the most important thing at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Because like I say in the Ice Bath there, you don't know what anyone's going through. So if you go up to them with your mood and you then take them down pegs, that's you're just not helping each other, you know what I mean? So you need to try and always be positive, always pass over a good word, always be kind to people. And that's the important thing. But I mean, I don't think I've got too much else to speak to you about within the actual interview sort of portion of this. So we're going to move over to the Instagram bit, where I'm going to pick a photo of your Instagram and you're going to tell me what you think about it. So that's us into the Instagram rewind portion. But in this case, it's going to be Facebook rewind, because Dylan doesn't have any posts on his Instagram. So we've got this picture here. What does it make you feel like? What's your emotions? What kind of comes to head the minute you see these photos or this photo?
Well, I'll say happiness, because it's a family. Like you see in that photo, it's just family. The kids. Well, one of the kids. So happiness, just positivity really in the photo. So
it's always nice having a wee family photo on your social media. Innit? But yeah, I mean, that's a nice photo. It's just a shame your son's not in it, because that would be a perfect.
He wasn't born yet, so
yeah. Oh, you need to get one of that one.
No,
get a wee photo with him in it, and then
definitely
come back Cold Wans again. I'll ask you again.
definitely.
I mean, this little section, it's never going to be that long unless there's multiple photos to talk about and stuff. But this photo, it's a lovely photo,
Special.
family, and it's all about respect in life. You know what I mean? Family is first. You know what I mean? But yeah, well, that's all we're going to say about the photo. Bash. So, there's always one question that I'll always ask on a Cold Wans episode, and that question is, if you had one thing or one maybe quote or anything in that sort of sense that you would like to say to every single person that could maybe help them get past their day, maybe give them a little thing to think about, be a bit mindful about, what would you say?
Just keep doing you and just don't let your shadows haunt you, pretty much, you know what I mean? So just keep doing you and don't let anyone judge you. That's all I can say. So
Absolutely. Well,
just be your own person, don't copy other people, just be your own person and just say it how it is, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
Don't be shy.
Don't be shy. Be a confident individual and float your boat, man. Just like we're doing. Music, production, and just this. So
digital creating.
Exactly. Just go for it, man. Like, don't let anybody else take you down pegs. Just be you. But I mean, I would usually do I was going to do the spin of the Wheel of Fit or whatever it was that I called it last week, but I've not got everything together yet, so I'm not feeling like getting it all out and being this scrappy thing. I want it to be nice, so I'm going to miss it this week, sadly. Or maybe next week as well. I'm going to have to work it out and make sure I get it perfect, because that's how I want it to be. But except from that, that'll be the closing of the second episode of Season 2 for Cold Wans. It was an absolute pleasure having you on, my man.
You too.
Thank you very much for coming on. And
thanks for having me as well.
Absolutely, man.
Great experience.
That's what it's all about. We talk, it's human, and it's there to help you. But I mean, on that note, I mean, I suppose I'll see you tomorrow, See you tomorrow, guys.